Okay, I'm seeing a footnote here, and I do notice it. And I don't want to be too distracted by that because I'm going to say, sometimes I do things, I see a footnote. If I struggle with this now, I'm missing the point of the problem. The point of the problem is to, take steps. This is what X is. This is what Y is. A little confusing already. But I'm going to write some things down over here for you. So I want to write down, like dx, d theta. And I'm looking at this thing over here. And let's write that down. What's going to be 8 times, constant multiple, by the way. Derivative of theta is 1. And derivative of sine is going to be cosine. I think I did okay there. Now let's do dy d theta. And what's that going to be? I still see the 8. And let's see. The derivative of 1 is nothing. I'm not going to put that down. But then the derivative of cosine is minus sine. So I'm going to put down sine theta. All right. Now, if things are not working out, I'd probably say I made a mistake somewhere. But I'm going to plow through it. All right. What am I going to do over here? I'm going to write the integration down now. And we're going to go from 0 to 2 pi. D theta. And again, I hope I can jam this in, but 8 squared is 64. I'm squaring this guy over here, by the way. And it's going to be 1 minus cosine theta squared plus, I'm going to square that guy now, 64 sine squared theta. And again, my hope is it's going to work out pretty nicely. And who knows, maybe that hit's going to be useful. I'm going to factor a 64 out, and the square root of 64 is 8. I'm going to be squaring this guy over here. And what's that going to be? 1 minus 2 cosine theta plus cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta. Well, things are kind of moving along. Oh, by the way, this is some length of arc over here. Pull the 8 out, 0 to 2 pi. And I notice I got a 1 here, and this is also 1. It's a Pythagorean identity, so I get 2. And I'm going to write down what I see now, which is 2 minus 2 cosine theta. I'm going to pull out the 2, and that would be root 2, right? So you get 8 root 2, 0 to 2 pi, and then you get this 1 minus cosine theta d theta. All right? All right, before I do anything, I really have to start thinking about the radicand. And what I know about the radicand, it's never going to be a negative number. All right, that's one thing good about that. Because really the cosine curve, I should say minus cosine curve, which looks like this over here. It's just that thing shifted up 1 unit. That's all it is. It's certainly not negative, so I'm not too worried about that square root thing there. What I'm kind of worried about is what that hint they gave me. And this hint is over here. And I think this is probably something that, you could derive it or remember it. But, they gave it to me, so I'm going to use it. And I'll write this one down for you. And we got 1 minus cosine of theta. They got 1 minus cosine of x. So it's going to be 2 sine squared. Right, I'm seeing that. And then it's going to be x. It's not x, it's theta over 2. All right, again, I want to tell you about the sine function for that argument theta over 2 between 0 and 2 pi. It's still going to be non-negative. So I got another thing I can deal with over here. I'm going to be pulling out the root 2 again. We'll take care of that later, by the way. I'm left with this, and the square root of that's going to be sine theta over 2 d theta. All right? So I'm going to do the antiderivative now, and as I do that, I'm going to simplify this. That's just 16. What's the antiderivative of sine? It would be minus cosine. Theta over 2. Now remember, if I use the chain rule in that, I'd certainly get 16 sine theta over 2, but I'd be multiplying by half then, and I got to get rid of that, so I'll say times 2. Let me just check it. All right, I'll write this over here. Oh, but by the way, limit integration from 0 to 2 pi. Let me just say this is going to be, let's see, minus 32 cosine theta over 2. If you were to check that, you would get, 32 sine theta over 2 times a half. So it seems to work out okay. All right? That goes from 0 to 2 pi. Let's write it down. What do you get over here? Minus 32 cosine. If I plug in 2 pi, I just get pi. Minus a minus, which would be plus 32, and cosine. If you plug in 0, what do you get? You get 0. What's cosine of pi? Minus 1, so you get 32. What's cosine of 0 is 1, plus 32. What do you get there? 64. Again, I know there's work written over here. There's also an answer. They are working nicely, by the way. Thank you.